The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is not happy with the Alberta NDP. They say the party's plan of hiking our province's general business tax rate from 8 to 11% would be a job-killing initiative. Now, to talk about this in more detail is the Alberta director of the CTF, Chris Sims, who joins us right here in Lethbridge. Chris, essentially you are giving Rachel Notley and the NDP a failing grade?
Yeah, for sure. Because on the one hand, they're doing the right thing by saying they're going to take the small business tax down to zero. But then they're turning around and saying, if you get really big and successful and you start employing people, we're going to nail you with a higher business tax rate. So they're proposing to hike the business tax rate here in Alberta from 8% up to 11%. You know, how folks are flocking here, and this will act as a scarecrow for people. It will drive away entrepreneurs and investment.
Now, Chris, an increase of 3% would add around $1.6 billion to provincial coffers. Wouldn't that be a good thing to help support things like infrastructure and other revenues which may be needed?
The math actually doesn't work out that way. If you take a look at how much money they were taking in between a higher or a lower corporate tax rate, they're actually taking in more revenue with a lower corporate tax rate. So right now we're at 8%. The provincial government is on track to take in more than $6 billion in that corporate tax. But back when it was up at 12%, they were only taking in just over $4 billion. So it seems counterintuitive, but the lower rate actually pulls in more revenue because you have more people setting up shop here.
Thanks so much, Chris. That was Chris Sims, Alberta Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, joining us from Lethbridge.